on the channel, it's the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and today we're counting down one of the biggest resurgences of 2022. We're talking about William Regal.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5. As you guys know by now, a Thursday tradition here on the channel where we take a look at something action figure related, and we count it down from number 5 all the way to number 1, number 1 being my favorite. And of course today, we've got William Regal, talk about a resurgence of a career, now back on TV instead of being behind the scenes in NXT. He's moved over to, some would say, greener pastures to AEW, getting mic time every single week, getting face time every single week. Very cool to see William Regal back on television. As a kid like me growing up, he was all about it in the WCW days, the Blue Bloods, him as a TV champ. Most people, I would say, in North America, that is where we learned of Lord Steven Regal back then. William Regal later in the WWE, some might even say a man's man. No man's man figure on here, unfortunately. I would love to have a man's man figure, but maybe one day. Mattel likes to give us some deep cuts every once in a while. Maybe we get that, or maybe AEW will figure something out. Who knows? But what we do know is we got a lot of William Regal figures. When I looked into it, there was a heck of a lot more than I remembered there being. I knew immediately some of my top ones, but some of the later positions, I just say, okay, I got to look through all these. And he has had a lot of figures, as we know. You got to remember, there's always Mattel basics in there as well for a lot of these characters. So you got to count those as well in your top 5s. But I got my list. We're going to talk about it, but I'm going to ask you guys to talk about your list in the comments down below. Remember, this is my list, so it's 100% correct because it's my list. But your list can be in the comments down below. So put that down there. Make sure you put them in order. That's the fun. That's the challenge. So without further ado, let's get to it. Lord Steven Regal, William Regal, whatever you want to call it, we're jumping into his top 5. All right, we kick off the William Regal, Steven Regal. We'll go back and forth in this video. We kick off the top 5 with a toy line that has really grown on me over the last few years. Now, when this toy line was originally out there, I picked up one. I believe it was the Hogan figure. I believe that's right. I believe I picked up the Hogan, and I said, this toy line is not for me. I was really hoping these would be more akin to my LJN figures of the past. Unfortunately, close enough to be dangerous, but not close enough for Kyle to be all in back in the day. Well, 2020 Kyle, 2019 Kyle, whatever it was a whole different story where he said to track these down. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the OSFTM, Original San Francisco Toy Makers, WCW, Steven Regal. Of course, this was part of a 2-pack with Bobby Eaton. Oh, Bobby Eaton, one of the all-time greats. Of course, they were the Blue Bloods back then. Didn't have this until many, many years later after it came out. Now, it isn't the most iconic type of figure, the original San Francisco Toy Makers, of course. I really wish they were more LJN. They were a little shorter, a little harder, not as movable plastic. Just a moment in time that didn't quite work out. But like I said, the fondness over the years, this one has grown on me. Maybe they've grown on you as well, but this one has. And looking at all the Steven Regal figures, I said, gosh, I really like the looks of this one. It brings me back to the time, you know, when he was running wild in WCW a lot of the time. He was a staple on WCW Saturday Night and a lot of the WCW programming for many, many years. And like I said earlier, that's where I first got to know William Steven Regal back in the day. But this one holds up pretty well. I mean, it's not the greatest, not the most articulated figure. It's a little farther down my list, but it is unique. It is something different. It does represent his WCW time frame, which we didn't get a whole lot of figures of. So it just feels a little bit special. Of course, the Bobby Eaton that came with him is really cool, especially since Bobby has passed. The scaling between those two is a little rough, as most of us know. But all in all, a very solid figure, a very good Steven Regal figure, and that's why he comes in at number 5 on my top 5 list. All right, we're at the number 4 spot, and we're starting to see a pattern already. This is another 2-pack. The last one, it came with Bobby Eaton. This one came with Tajiri. Yes, Tajiri. And what are we talking about? We're talking about Jax, we're talking about Adrenaline 2-pack with Tajiri Series 14. Now, this isn't a wrestling version of William Regal. We all remember the time. It seems like a million years ago, but it seems like it was just yesterday in some ways. But William Regal was the general manager of Raw. Tajiri was his assistant, and hilarity ensued on a nightly basis, or at least a Monday night basis. Some of the best work of his career was outside of the ring. His facials, his funny British wit, a lot of the stuff. Then when you get mad, you really took it seriously with William Regal. So I thought he was a great GM. That was a great span of Raw, I always felt. And I think he carried his job very well at the time. And this is the only figure that really represents that time frame. I would have loved to have seen some more suited William Regal figures. I gotta think AEW will give us one probably in 2023 sometime. Bet the house. Bet the house 2023. We get a William Regal in a suit with the Blackpool Combat Club. Save that for a future William Regal list, maybe. But this one, cool enough. You do get a soft goods vest, then you get the regular Jakks plastic suited body figure. But really cool, a moment in time, something different than the norm in the Steven Regal, William Regal figures. So a very cool one, a very special one, and that's why it comes in at number 4 on my top 5 list. All right, we're at the number 3 spot. We're halfway there in our William Regal countdown here. Reminder, make sure you put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. That's the fun part. But the number 3 spot comes once again, or I guess I should say for the first time in this list, Mattel Elite Series 45 WCW Lord Steven Regal. A very, very cool figure, but very much one of the greatest Mattel Elite peg warmers of all time. As I just recently, about a year and a half at most, but most likely about a year ago, I picked this up for David C. Anderson, friend of the channel. He needed one, and there was still one hanging in a Target that I was traveling to, and I picked it up for him. So it's crazy how long this one peg warmed. This is one of the all-timers in the peg warmer division, this William Regal. But now, probably a little bit more pretty penny. It's off the pegs, not easy to find. People are probably still wanting this one. I'm sure it's not too far above retail, but it is definitely above retail at this time. But very cool. Once again, like number 5, the number 3 one here represents his WCW time frame. A lot better of a figure than number 5 with the hard goods robe. A soft good would be nice. We weren't getting a lot of soft goods at this point with Mattel. But you get the hard good robe. Definitely looks like Steven Regal back in the day. He looks just absolutely disgusted. And that's just always perfect mannerisms from Steven Regal, especially back in his WCW Blue Bloods day. A fabulous figure. Did not get the justice it deserved way back when, and I think it's starting to be looked at with better eyes in this day and age, 2022. But for me, William Regal, Steven Regal, WCW Blue Bloods edition comes in at number 3. All right, we're at the number 2 spot in our William Regal, Steven Regal top 5 countdown. And once again at number 2, we go back to Mattel. Now, Mattel, shame on you, Mattel. You should have had a lot more William Regal figures over the years. We just talked about one, the flashback WCW version. But you got to go all the way back to Mattel WWE Elite Series 8 to get the most current, modern day, I guess we'd say, William Regal figure. Just absolutely fabulous. Got his little longer hair going on that he had at the end of his run. Got his beautiful purple robe here. Would have loved to seen soft goods, but it is a shame Mattel didn't give us anymore. We got a couple of basics of William Regal, but we really should have got another Elite or 2, or at least another throwback Elite, something like that. Even a basic GM NXT William Regal would have been a really nice something to give us. But a guy who was under the NWO, yeah, them too, under the NXT WWE banner for a long, long time, that just, I feel, didn't get his just deserved action figures. A lot like last week's top 5, Shelton Benjamin, because the same case could be made for him. But a very, very cool William Regal figure. It's a shame what I'm seeing online in these different groups and things going on right now. There's a lot of people wanting an AEW version of William Regal. I totally get it. I want one myself. But there's a lot of people carving this figure up, popping the head off. Oh, just you absolute maniacs out there. Look at you guys go. But you can put it back, I'm sure. So hopefully they do that. But I always hate to see figures get carved up. We saw a lot of Dynamite Kid, Jakks Classic Superstars get carved up with that British Bulldog that came out last year. And we're seeing that with William Regal right now. Hopefully that mania dies down. Hopefully AEW and the Jazzwares team get us a William Regal from his Blackpool Combat Club days that he's in right now. But until then, this one is pretty solid. This one's very high on the list. This one comes in at number 2. All right, the time has come. We're at the #1 spot. Just one last reminder, make sure to put your list in the comments down below and make sure you put them in order. And then, of course, follow the channel. Make sure you sub the channel. Make sure you put the old notification bell on, as you don't want to miss a Kyle Peterson top 5 list where I said every single week we count something down. We're getting dangerously close to 17,000. We're going to have to figure out another top 10. We'll see where that one goes in the next few weeks, hopefully. So more to come on that. And then remember, the Patreon, your best way to support the channel. You also get all these videos free days, sometimes weeks earlier if you're a Patreon member. There's also exclusive videos, bonus content, and monthly giveaways. And best of all, you get to support the channel. But without further ado, we got to get down to the #1 William Regal figure of all time. And who is it? What is it going to be? What company? Well, it comes from one of my favorites. I don't know about yours, but definitely one of mine. It comes from Jakks. Jakks Ruthless Aggression style figures, very, very underrated in one man's opinion and some others out there. But what are we going to? We're going to go to the limited edition 1 of 3,000 exclusive. It's a UK exclusive of William Regal right here. A beautiful figure for a lot of reasons. First off, limited edition 1 of 3,000. We saw a lot of these Jakks boxed exclusives. We all know the history, or, well, I guess not everybody knows, but if you guys remember back 2 years ago, year and a half ago, what is time anymore, I was chasing down the Australian Rey Mysterio exclusive version of this in the box like this, and it took me a long time. I finally did track that one down. But a UK exclusive, which is a very solid one. I do have one loose, of course, and then I just recently probably 2.5 years ago, picked this up on Amazon as they had a sale one Sunday. You know Amazon, sometimes prices just drop out of nowhere. It was $5.99 shipped out of nowhere. I said, for that price, I'll take one in the box, and that's exactly what I did. But how cool is this figure? You're probably saying, oh, it's just a Jakks figure. It's #1. Well, packaging is really cool. It just looks really good. It's a UK box art style. Very awesome packaging across the board on this one. So that's a winner right away. 1 of 3,000, limited edition. I guess this would be his most limited figure he's ever had. So you got to take that to the bank as well. Soft goods shirt on this one. Love soft goods. We didn't get a ton of soft goods, just like now. They would get peppered in every once in a while. So very cool to get the Born Naughty soft goods shirt with this one. But then underneath, we have a singlet for William Regal. And we didn't see the singlet very often. I mean, this might even be the only figure he had that came in a singlet. So that is really cool. One step further, what are we doing? We're giving him a black eye. He's got a black eye on his figure. I think that is a nice attention to detail. You know, we saw that with Hulk Hogan before in figures. We've seen bloody figures before, but we don't get beat up and bruised figures very often. And this is one of only a handful that have ever been released to the public. So the black eye here, soft goods, the singlet, which we never get, cool packaging, 1 of 3,000 exclusive. You can't go wrong here. There is a whole lot to like about this one, and that is why he comes in at #1 for me. Just a very, very cool William Regal figure that still holds up after all these years, in my opinion. So there it is. Make sure you put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you follow along on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and then ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. So for William Regal, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.